Without further ado, we are doing a dress rehearsal for the National Strategies for Storms, Flooding, and Sea Level Defense Conference, which is going to take place on November 18th and 19th. And we have a dress rehearsal group of panelists who are going to discuss their interests in resiliency, climate change, sea level defense. And I am going to start with Laura Emmons, a Civic Spark Fellow who has been working with us and is working with the California Office of Emergency Services. Laura, good morning. You have the floor.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Implementation mode, and it will be in a moment. Okay. Yes, so my name is Laura Emmons, and I am a Civic Spark Fellow currently with the California Office of Emergency Services working on sea level rise policy with the County of Ventura and working on some sea level rise vulnerability assessments with the County of Monterey. Last year, I was a Civic Spark Fellow working on stormwater funding and operational models, which I'm going to present to you briefly on today at the City of Livermore. And I am really interested in resiliency work, especially around flooding. So that sort of has brought me into my field of work and into this conference. So I will briefly go through this presentation, probably not all of it as it's a little long, but so at the City of Livermore, they currently generate about $1 million per year through a property-based fee, the urban runoff fee to pay for stormwater. And they spend about $2.3 million annually. So this is then subsidized by the Sanitary Sewer Fund and the General Fund. So in order to get up to a full service level, they would need to spend about an additional $13 million for a year, which would probably result in requiring a new fee, which would probably be anywhere from $270 to $300 per year on a property. And then could subsidize, in theory, could also go for a lower fee and subsidize the rest of the needed funding through a variety of other sources, including grants, developer impact fees, stormwater inspection fees, alternative compliance fees, excess litter fees, and different partnerships. So I'm going to go through a few of those things here. So staff has recommended that the city seek a property-based fee in order to fully fund the management of the stormwater system. Currently, so these are some different options they could go with, either a parcel tax, another special tax, a general obligation bond, or as staff is recommending, the property-based fee, which would require 50% of all property owners and would need to go through a Prop 218 compliance, which is, there are certain steps that I'm not going to probably go through all of them right now. The city could also consider testing SB 231, which exempts stormwater from the requirements of Prop 218. But that is likely to face a legal challenge, so is not what staff would recommend at this time. And I can move to the next slide, I think. Yes. So there have been a number of specific stormwater mechanisms, funding mechanisms used for stormwater in the state of California. In our study, we found about a 70% passage rate, and a property-based fee was the most common method. The city is embarking on their storm drain master plan, an asset condition assessment, and this would be a good time to then tie that into look at going for a fee. And there's lessons learned from a variety of agencies on why measures have passed or failed. We have compiled, a number of lessons learned and certain benefits of a sunset clause or tying it to popular assets. I don't know if I should keep going. There's also an option for the city to use mitigation-related funding. This is something they've already done using funding from the Altamont Landfill Open Space Fund, which provides money to acquire open space and then seek partnerships to sell conservation values on that land. The city's already done this in the Springtown Preserve and could do this. Other cities like the city of Escondido have done things similar with their Daily Ranch Mitigation Bank. I can continue to go through some of these operational models. So either one division handling stream and stormwater maintenance. An example is the city of San Pablo, who has a clean water division, and they fund this through a collection of stormwater fees and grants. And 2 divisions in public works, and this is like the city of Oakland, and they have a creeks and watershed and stormwater section and a storm drain maintenance section, and then also 2 divisions in public works, which is what the city of Roseville does. They have an open space maintenance division and a streets division. That we could consider regionalization, and this is a case study.
You got 1 minute, Laura.
Okay, I'll wrap this up real quick. The West Valley Clean Water Authority in Santa Clara has like a JPA to handle stormwater maintenance. And the last one, I will not talk about all of this with my last minute, but is the city of Richmond, who has privatized their stormwater services with Veolia. And they basically do and Veolia has the first right of refusal on all their storm and sewer projects. They do have to pay a 16% markup because of that, but they still have a water resources recovery division or department. And there's a number of lessons learned from that example that I probably definitely has not relieved the city of liability either. And that would be my presentation on stormwater funding models.
Very good. Laura, thank you very much. I think that was very interesting and very succinct and very well done. Okay, so our next speaker is Madeline. So I'm going to ask questions, but I'll ask them at the end. Madeline Travis, you are also a Civic Spark Fellow, and you have the floor.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Thank you for that presentation, Laura. Being that I'm working on a stormwater capture project, I definitely would love to speak with you more in depth about that later. So let's see. Okay. So I should be sharing in a moment. Can you guys see my screen?
We can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm currently working on a project to help promote stormwater capture for groundwater sustainability. I have a background in environmental studies, a passion for environmental justice, and after learning about the particular example of Cape Town, South Africa, nearly reaching their day zero of their water supply, coupled with the statistic I had learned one of my last years of college that of the fraction of a fraction of the 1% of fresh water on this earth that is available to us, it's incredibly mismanaged. And so with my philanthropic nature and my interest in ecology.
Madeline, a little louder, please.
Yeah, of course. So sorry, so I felt compelled to pursue a path working to help secure equitable access to potable water. So this led me to discover Civic Spark, where I have commit to an 11-month project to help ultimately contribute to a more sustainable California. So being that I'm placed with the County of San Luis Obispo Public Works, the Water Resources Division, I am helping to bring Paso Robles Subbasin into sustainability. So there's been a call to investigate stormwater capture to help bolster the local water supply. So through promoting stormwater capture projects and determining public interest through a series of stakeholder outreach, I will ultimately help to drive forward stormwater capture to help diversify the county's water portfolio in the face of the intensifying effects of climate change. So through gathering stakeholder input, I'll help to use that input to gather clear and actionable results for the use of GSAs and related agencies. So just a quick background, back in 2013, the drought was so severe that wells were actually failing. And a year later, then Governor Jerry Brown signed into law a 3-bill legislative package collectively known as the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA. So being that our basin has come up with its groundwater sustainability plan, I'm helping to ensure that all of the interests and needs of our community members are going to be met. So shifting into the background of the landscape itself. So we do have a booming wine industry here with correlative population growth, a local university. Our local waterways are home to several threatened and indicator species such as the California red-legged frog, the Coast Range newts, the South Central California coast steelhead trouts. And of course, we have a very prominent agricultural industry as well. So through meeting with various members of the community and ensuring everyone feels they have a voice in the unfolding of these projects. The aim is to bring the basin into balance while ensuring everyone's needs and interests are balanced as well. So I'm going to be approaching this through investigating several possibilities for projects. So on one hand, we have smaller scale on-farm managed aquifer recharge projects, also known as FLEDMAR. So these projects might look like, say, over irrigating crops, building berms, or recharge ponds. You can see by looking at the diagram on the right-hand side of my screen here what some of those projects might look like. And then we have larger scale, watershed-wide, dedicated retention basins. The idea being that we help to capture that excess peak flow during wetter, rainier years while maintaining the base flow. As you can see in the diagram I've provided, it's very important to ensure you are providing a base flow so you're not infringing on downstream users' water rights or the threatened species that I had mentioned earlier. So I'm going to be looking into different possibilities for projects and determining public interest and concern in what might be unfolding down the road. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you for
Excellent.
having me.
Very, very good. Madeline, you're in time, and that was, the visuals are very compelling. Thank you very much. So our next speaker is Natalie Ruffner, who is a student at California State University at Long Beach. She's been working as an intern for Rebuild the United States and did the script for a video on AmeriCorps that was a promotion that was done as a donation. Natalie, you have the floor.
Hi everyone. I am going to share my screen right now. Stas, it is not letting me share my screen.
Okay, Todd, can you help her out, please?
Oh, do you see it?
We do.
There we go. Okay, so as Stas said, I am a student at Cal State Long Beach, and I've been working for Stas since about July of this year. And this is the most recent project I've been helping him out with, outreach for the upcoming conference. So this is a flyer that I made to mainly target students, and it's just introducing the conference to students who might be interested. And I've been speaking with professors and club advisors at Long Beach for environmental policy clubs, and I have connections with business clubs as well to find students who might be interested in attending the conference in November. And that's the outreach that I've been doing with the flyer and sending it to other groups to try and gain and reach students who are interested in this field and would like to attend.
Very good. Natalie.
Yeah. That's about all I have.
That's okay. It's short, sweet, and to the point. Very good. Thank you very much. And so our last speaker is Madeline Vine.
Yeah.
Madeline.
Hi.
Madeline, you are a St. Mary's student, and you have the floor. Welcome.
Right. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and figure out how to do it. Let's try it. It's just a quick little presentation because I have been working, oops, not that, sorry. present is what I wanted. I have been working on my senior capstone a lot, which is actually why, you know, I got interested in the resilience factor of sea level rise and saltwater intrusion. That's what I'm basing my senior thesis and capstone project off of. So I'm doing a research-based project. And so I basically plan to focus my research around sea level rise and how that will affect groundwater systems, specifically coastal aquifers and deltaic communities with saltwater intrusion. As it's known, saltwater intrusion is extremely detrimental and degrading to a water resource. And as Madeline Travis already previously mentioned, there's, I think, the actual percentage of freshwater available for human use right now is 0.77%. So it's less than 1% of Earth's available water is readily available for human use. And that is something that, you know, kind of sparked my passion towards resiliency and combating and managing sea level rise and saltwater intrusion. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this. So my introduction here is that, how I already stated, like groundwater is a vital resource for human life. It is not only, you know, good for the mind, the body, and the soul, but also for socioeconomic and ecosystems. It's necessary for those communities to thrive. Groundwater withdrawals for public supplies, agriculture, and industry, and unfortunately, the coastal groundwater systems are subject greatly to saltwater intrusion. And management of this freshwater resources is become increasingly important over the years, and for environmental managers and resource managers as we go along with the, you know, impending rates of sea level rise. So the freshwater that's stored in coastal aquifers is very susceptible to the degradation due to its proximity to the coastal waters, and in combination with the intensive waters demands that and accompany higher population densities of these coastal zones. So the process of saltwater intrusion, basically there's mixing zones on these coastal aquifers, and that is where saltwater intrusion happens. And these mixing zones saltwater intrusion occurs during molecular diffusion, mechanical dispersion, and the varying densities in freshwater and saltwater. That's how they become mixed. And so the narrowing of these mixing zones is very essential in the management of saltwater intrusion and how there's a defense against it. And then one of the main reasons that saltwater intrusion occurs is the proximity to sea level and sea level rise, but then also the pumping of freshwater also greatly contributes to the amount of saltwater intrusion that occurs in a coastal aquifer. And then on this last slide, I just have a little diagram of what that looks like and how, you know, what a natural aquifer looks like, and then how saltwater intrusion with an aquifer that is being pumped looks like, and how that saltwater intrusion occurs. And that is all I have today. Like I said, this is just a little bit of the research I've been doing for my senior capstone project. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, excellent. Thank you very much, Madeline.